In this unit, we're going to talk about how to explain your comp plan to a candidate. So a candidate would be a person you're considering hiring. I wouldn't do it in the interview process till well along until you're ready to hire them. So you're sitting down with him or her and you're saying, I want you to work here and these are the rules of the engagement. I'm going to describe it to you. We're going to go over this. But as it relates to comp plans, there's one specific component to that, which is you have to paint them a picture as to how it's going to work. And I can share this little story with you. I was in the end of the recruitment, the about to hire somebody. I thought for sure that this person was going to come to work for us the next week. And I was ready to kind of close the deal. And they said, I just can't do this. And I said, why not? I've been going through this all along. And they said, my mom tells me I'm worth more than $30,000. And I said, how does your mom know that? And they didn't have any real reason, but her brother, the mom's brother or somebody was in sales, and they said, oh, that's a ripoff. You're worth way more than that. So the point of this is you're interviewing more than just with that person. You're interviewing with their whole universe, right? Where they came from, what they're up to, what their goals are, who they know, what their expectations are. You have to really know all that stuff so you can weed them in and weed them out, but it goes extremely important to putting together the comp plan. As a side note, I know that several big companies these days actually have an orientation process for the parents of new hires. It's been going on in colleges for years. You have parent orientation and student orientation. Now it's gone on to big companies. So if you're going to be an auditor at a KPMG or something, you go to a parent orientation. Some of you might be shocked by that. Others, maybe you've been to these parent orientations and you know all about it. But so I want to set the stage. You're at the final point. Sam or Susie, I want you to come work here, and I want to explain how it works. They're going to ask you, how much do I get paid? How much is it? How does it work? But you need to do better than just say, here's something, read it. You need to walk them through it. So what I'm going to recommend, and I have an example in the program here for you to download as kind of a template, is essentially a worksheet where we are going to walk them through their pay stub, how it's going to work over time with different scenarios. You're going to walk them through over and over and over until they can explain it to you, and they're perfectly comfortable because they have to walk home. They have to walk in the door of their home and tell their parents or their girlfriend or their husband or whatever it is what the deal is. Right? How much are they going to get paid? And they're going to get lots of feedback. Trust me on that. Tons of feedback's coming their way. So when you build this tool, I want you to think of several axis points, right? One is time. The other is types of clients. And then within the types of clients, you're going to have types of sales. So you might have a big client that buys a low profit margin, meaning you don't make that much money. And that means something to you as a business versus a smaller client that buys a big profit item. If that's all the stuff you've built in your comp plans, you need to build the little columns for all these things. And you're going to walk them through and you're going to say, on month one, you're probably not going to have any of these. So month one is going to be your base pay if you have one, or an activity bonus plus one. Maybe you'll get one of these sales, something like that. So you kind of say, okay, month one is this pile, this little pile. Month two, you're going to start to have a little bit of these. I would expect you to have one of these and one of these. And then you're going to make that amount of money. Month three and so forth. You walk them through and you're probably going to do a little bit of ranges. Maybe have 2 or 3 spreadsheets open at one time. If you really hit it well, you're going to have this. If it's not so well, it's going to be here. If you have people in your company that have done this, you want to encourage them to participate, or you might bring them in and say, tell me about your 3rd month, Sally. How did it go? Do you remember how that went? Yeah, I worked really hard and I sold 2 of these, right? And that person can ask questions. They can answer some questions. It's a nice process by which the person is completely trusting of you and your information. You're not holding back anything. You're not lying. You're laying it right out for them to make an informed decision. Within this process, as you're walking them through, you need to be realistic, paint a picture of optimism, but not overpromise. They have to be able to trust you and trust me when I tell you that on day one, they're already evaluating whether this comp plan is fair. the first question they're going to ask one of their peers, if they have it, or the ops people or whoever, they're going to say, you know, how much can I really make doing this? How hard is it to get a customer? Is it really as easy as I think? You know, they're going to have these questions because even if you've gone over the numbers, they still need sort of independent verification. And they're judging and evaluating as they go along what they're likely to make. And the more commission you have in the program, the more they're doing this because they have more at stake. It may be a funny analogy, it may be kind of off point, but I have used this to describe the relationship that I have with a new rep or a candidate that I'm making a job offer to. And it goes sort of like this. It goes back to maybe on the Happy Days episodes where people were going steady and they had their pins and all that jazz. When you start working here, we're kind of going steady, right? I would expect that you've stopped looking for a job, I would hope at least, if I've satisfied your needs, and that you're loyal to this organization. But I don't think that you're here for life. I don't think I've hired you for the next 50 years. I think we've agreed to see each other exclusively and that we're going to give it a try. That's about the extent of the loyalty that I think you should expect from your new hires. Now, as you go on, whether it's 6 months or a year or 2 years or 5 years, the trust builds. You may become much more than just going steady and get hitched. You say, okay, this is it for me. This is my career. I'm into this. But to expect somebody to act like that at the beginning is probably a foolish expectation on your part. And if they say they're doing it, they're probably not. So that's just a little bit of warning as to that level of commitment that you can expect, even if you fully explained your comp plan and they're fully on board, they're questioning it and they're cautiously optimistic at best.